Now we're ready to start talking about arrays, and arrays are basically a way to store a bunch of variables together, all under the same name. You may be thinking of a struct when I say storing a bunch of variables together, but arrays are different in that we're storing a bunch of like variables of like data types together. An array in programming is kind of like what an egg carton is in the physical world. We have an egg carton, and it is, a certain amount of space, physical space has been set aside to store 12 very, like objects, very similar objects, similar in size and shape. And that's what we're doing when we create an array. We're setting memory aside to store a bunch of things together that are very similar. So for example, let's say I asked you to write a program that'll store the colors of the rainbow and, populate those memory locations with things like red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. You might say, okay, well, here we go. Maybe we'll say C1 for color 1, and that's equal to red. And then C2 will be orange, and so on down the line. And that will work. But a different way to do it, and probably a better way, because we would want to store these all together. They're all related. They're colors that make up the rainbow. We can use an array to put them in a memory location all together as a group. So that's what we'll do. So instead of going C1, C2, C3, and so on, separate variables, let's say string colors. And then here's how we create an array. You use your square brackets, and then you specify the size of the array. And so I have really created an array of 6 variables all together in memory. And each of these locations in the array, I have 6 of them. Each of those is called an element. So what I've done is that I've created an array of 6 elements. Okay, so now I have my array in memory, and I would like to populate it. And you're probably thinking along the lines of something like this. We'll start with red. And that's partially true. But colors alone won't cut it, because there are actually 6 elements here, 6 variable locations. And I have to specify which one I'm talking about when I want to assign it a value of red. So we do that by providing an index. Behind the scenes, each array is indexed, meaning it has a numbering system. Each element has a number, and it starts with 0. The array starts with 0 in the first element and moves on from there. So we have the 0-based numbering system in the array. So if I want to put red into the first element there, I will specify an index of 0. Okay, and then moving on. Okay, so I'm populating the array with the color names, my array of strings, to represent a rainbow. Okay, so there I have it. Here's my array in memory. I have 6 memory locations. The array is called colors, and it is of type string. So once again, creating an array, you specify the data type, you give your array a good descriptive name, just like if you were naming a variable, and then you specify the size of the array, the number of elements that you want in your array. And then populating your array, typically you will provide an index, and once again, this is a 0-based indexing system. That's very important to remember. And there you have it. In our next video, we'll look at an alternative way of populating an array, and that's actually a little bit easier. So you can go ahead and launch that one now.